Hi, everybody. So Abby and I are here together. Abby Wynn, my beautiful friend, and we're going to talk about the body today and a lot of stuff that's been going on with ourselves and what we're doing to help heal that, and how it's really come into the forefront right now that the human body ascending with us is a really big deal, and it's time to really pay attention to the human body.
You just said that, honey, and my tummy made a noise.
It's like, yes,
It's interesting. I was there, I think it was last week. In the morning, I have trouble in the morning.
Mhm.
And I think everybody who's watching will recognize there are certain times of day where our bodies have more difficulty than other times. I was sitting there and I was kind of this blank look over my face. And my husband's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm talking to my body. And he's like, "Oh." So then I didn't internalize, I externalized the dialogue so he could hear. And I'm there, will I get up now? No, you can sit down for a few more minutes. And when I get up, will I get dressed? Well, maybe we'd like to go to the gym. Okay, yeah, we could go to the gym. So we put on our gym, the whole dialogue. And he's like, "What the heck are you doing?" And I said, "You know what?" I said, "I'm not in charge of my body, telling my body what I want it to do anymore. I want to make that space for my body to kind of tell me, but there's still some miscommunication there, which is
Yeah.
fine." It's learning. But it
Yeah.
ended up that my body said it wanted to get up, but it wanted to get up slowly. It doesn't like me putting pressure on myself. And we could go to the gym only if my body could tell me what exercises to do.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was strange. So then I went around the gym that day and I was like, "This one, yeah, go." And I was doing the working out because I've only just gone back to the gym. And then I said, "No, that's enough." I'm like, "Okay." And then I'm going to the next one. "No, yeah, that's enough." And then this one. And then now that's all, go and sit in the sauna. So I took a moment to go inwards and I said to myself, "Do I have a guide who's a fitness instructor by any chance?" It's really funny.
That is funny.
But the
Yeah.
whole push behind it, honey, was that my brain would make me do too much, too fast, too
Mhm.
soon. And I had to stop and slow down and not do half of what I thought I could do.
Yeah. I think that is the main disconnect in general between the soul and the body, because the soul is used to just, you know, we're just going to do it. Let's do it. And there's no resistance there. But the body has a whole different plan. And we're basically here together, in the human existence with the soul and the body. And just like when you do a cleanse, like when I would do a cleanse, like it would be a whole hog cleanse with, way too much stuff, not gentle. And my poor body would be like, like I'm dying. And that's something I've had to learn. And also with my clients, it's been something that they're like, "Oh, well, I used to just go for it," and I said, "Please don't go for it. Your body wants you to do it slowly." And it really has come into my, realm as well, because I found out some things about my body, that my body is tired in certain ways and not receiving exactly what it needs in certain ways. And also the exercise that it wants to do is something I never would have thought of. Like, it wants to dance. My body wants to dance, and not for very long. And, just to have fun and not do strenuous exercise. So really it's all about getting my body back in balance.
As you're talking, honey, it's really interesting what's coming through for me. Because I've been doing psychotherapy for 12, 13 years, now 14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But being a psychotherapist all those years ago, always with the knowing of the emotional body that needs the care, and the spiritual body that needs the care. When I'd be working personally on myself and with other clients, we do the talking work, we do the healing work, but we would always need to leave time for the body to then catch up. So I'll give you an example. Somebody could come in, we're talking about something terrible that happened, and all the grief is there, but they can't cry yet. But we talk about, they understand it, they leave, and then maybe it would take a month for the grief to rise in them and to be released through them. And what I'm really noticing, is that whole process is speeded up. So, it's as if we're at a point now where the body has caught up with us and there isn't that lag time anymore. And so when we're talking to the body, it's actually here now in the present moment, and like a little doggy with his tail wagging, what do you want? What do you want? And it's right here and it's ready to play. Whereas before, maybe we wouldn't hear what the body needed for days or weeks or months. And that emotional release might not have happened for days or weeks or months, depending on, I suppose, because both of us are energy healers. It would depend on how much energetic debris you'd be carrying, how much energy, stagnant energy, crystallized, solidified emotions that would block you from getting through to the core essence of your body. I think because a lot of that's lifted in the body is changing, that it has. What's your take? What do you think?
Well, I think the body is in the middle of its ascension too. So it's getting more and more communicative with us. And also we're starting to drop the programming, because there's so much programming about the way that people look, and for me, my journey has been about, why is my body not letting go of weight? Why is it hanging on to inflammation or weight or any of those things? And a lot of it was protection. You go through and you're helping all these other people, and you're also holding some of their emotions for them. And your body's like, ooh, this is a lot to handle. So your body starts to protect itself. Because I think we haven't totally honored the body in some of the ways that we operate too. We don't think about the body because we've been taught that the body is a meat suit, but it's not.
It's not. That reminds me of a client I had many years ago who was an empath, would pick up everybody's everything like a sponge. And it got to the stage where she couldn't leave the house. Now, this was well before the pandemic, before anybody. So she would have been one of my first clients that I would have just talked to her on the phone.
Yeah.
We didn't even do Zoom. We did it on the phone because she couldn't leave the house, because the more I got to know her, the more I realized she was like the street sweeper. And anything, or the guy from Charlie Brown, from Snoopy, the minute he walks outside, bang, everything sticks to him. She could not leave the house because of that. But what we also learned as we went through the layers of what was going on for her was that she's picking up shit. She's holding the shit in her body.
Yeah.
She feels like shit. So she started to believe that she was shit. And then she treated herself like shit, which is the cycle that the empath goes through. And then we think our body is the shit that we're carrying, when it's not. It's the energy. And then we misplace how we feel, and then we tell our body it's shit. And all that beautiful research on water, and our body's got that water, and we're telling our body we're shit. Our body changes shape to become what we want it to be, or what we're telling it to be.
Exactly. So, you go through these stages and you take on other people's stuff, or maybe you're taking on programming and you're thinking, well, I'm supposed to look like this fabulously fit body. And then you start to compare yourself, and you're doing the same thing that an empath would be doing, like you're picking on your body. So this, it's just so important to start to love our bodies through Ascension And for me, it's been taking time for myself every day and just, saying, well, what does my body need today? Like, what nutrients am I missing today that I need? And can I get them energetically, or do I need to ingest them physically? What does my body want? Yeah. It's been a big eye opener, honestly.
It really is. And
Yeah.
I've been finding myself as well going inwards. Have a science degree and I've studied anatomy, and I've gone inside my body on many occasions. I imagine myself getting really, really small, and I go inside and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got an ache and pain and what's going on? And I'm holding things and touching things and doing gentle healing that way. And it's a beautiful way to bring somebody more in closer connection with your body. I think we have to disassociate from all of the heaviness and the stagnation and realize that that is not us, and that this body is responding to how we're treating it.
Yeah.
And I know you and I, in the last year or so anyway, have started to treat our body much better and started to see our body. I think you mentioned in one of your videos one time, it's like to treat your body like you would treat your inner child, like you would
Yeah.
treat, another part of you, to just love your body. And it's not something you hang up at the end of the day and go asleep and you come back and you put it back on again. It's you're living here, and the body just wants to do whatever we want to do, wants to be part of our journey, part of our adventure.
It
So
does. It's like so my little brother and I, when I was a kid, I would take him everywhere, and he was 4 years younger than me. And that's how I see the body. Like, you're taking your body everywhere with you, and your body is experiencing everything you're experiencing. But it's a relationship of a slightly younger consciousness. And
I
to
would say
love
though,
it.
if you're not present in the present moment, or if you're disassociating from your body, then your body misses you because you're not really in
Yeah.
it. And I think what you're
Exactly.
describing there is the ideal relationship, but I don't think we're actually all there yet. Do you know
Mm-mm.
what I mean?
We're not. Yeah.
And I find it very interesting. And I don't know if you've watched the new Black Mirror series,
No, I still
but
want
you
to. I'm
could
gonna have to get
even
Netflix.
talk about Avatar with
Hmm.
the blue aliens, and the whole idea that you can download your consciousness into a body. That's in the Black Mirror as well, which I thought was very interesting to see it in another kind of arena.
Yeah.
That if our consciousness lives somewhere else and we're downloading into these bodies here, um, I think the relationship here, if we're downloading onto another planet, great, because my awareness is in this one right now. But I think there's something really special going on here in the
Yeah.
relationship that we're having with our bodies, because my body, and I've said this before on another video with Antonia that we did, I've had scoliosis, but I've never been diagnosed. I have chronic pain and I don't mind talking about it. And I've probably broken bones and not even realized it. I've had issues with my face where it's changed, and there was one point where my jaw couldn't even open my mouth. And I never felt this is it, this is forever, I'm broken. I had tinnitus, which sounded like a fire truck in my head, and I thought I was going to die. But each time I would step back as the observer and then come into the body and say, it's okay, we can heal this. And to see the body as plastic, to see the body as a movable feast where it can regrow, regenerate, And so, sure, there's always things that aren't right. And we were just saying before we pressed record how difficult it's been for the last week anyway. It's been pretty tough energy.
Yeah.
We could
It's
talk
been
about that
really
in a minute, but
thick. Yeah.
if we decide, it's about the nocebo effect versus the placebo effect. Nocebo is, I've got my diagnosis, I'm going to die in 3 months, and then you die because you believe it. The nocebo effect is, my wrist is really sore, I can't do this with my hand, therefore I'll never be able to do this with my hand, and then you won't be able to do it with your hand.
Yeah.
Whereas, and at the moment I have an issue here in my wrist and I'm massaging it and opening it and telling it, I'm encouraging it and I'm visualizing. And I think that's why anatomy knowledge is really important. The bones and the joints and the connective tissues, and I'm seeing them getting softer and more pliable. And then one night it just went pop and I'm like, oh, and then my thumb was different. And I was like, okay, good. It's like, talking
Yeah.
to the body, it's really important.
It's so important. There's so much there. Like we've had foreign bodies in our body, which are, like parasites. But as we kind of clear that as well, and as our vibration rises, they can't really live here anymore.
Yeah.
So we're changing that as we go as well. But it's just, the energy has been pretty dense over the last month. But there have been moments of absolute like freedom in there too. But I think that we're in a place where the universe is kind of different now. And we're choosing how fast or how slow do we want to go through ascension. And that's the denseness and also the purging of, we've had thousands of years of stuff, and not just for the soul, but also for the body. So those genetics are carrying cellular memory that need to be cleared. And so is the soul. It's carrying memory of experiences that have been had that need to be cleared. So all of that stuff is coming to the surface right now. And it's been really hard for a lot of people.
It's really interesting
Yeah.
for me to add to this that I was holding in my leg because I get a massage. I mean, if you're an energy worker, you need to get the body work.
Yeah.
And I was there asking my body to be part of the massage, to come in and show me what it's letting go of. So I'm not lying there going, oh, it's a great massage, and then I fall asleep. I'm there with the woman's hands and I'm following her and I'm wherever she is. And so she was working on my ankle and my lower leg. And I had an image of when I was like 4 or 5 years old that we had a childminder who would come and mind us because my dad was working and my mom was doing charity stuff. So she would come in and she was angry. And I was holding her anger from when I was 3 or 4 and I'm going, wow, this body is such a sponge. I didn't even know that was there because my awareness was in the cells that
Yeah.
she was working on. So we have stuff in our bodies that we don't even know is there. That's not even our stuff.
It's not our stuff. One thing that's been popping up a lot for me too is reflexology, and just like, if you can't go get a massage, then get a chart and massage your feet and hands,
Or you can do reflexology on your ear. Did you
Yeah, and
know
your
that?
ears too.
It's really good.
Yeah. So do some of those things. Like there's a lot of stuff out there where you can actually kind of
You
navigate
have to
some of
be
this
doing it
stuff.
now.
Yeah.
If on your ear where it really hurts is where you need to stay for longer. And
Yes.
that opens up the channels. And then you can kind of do this with your fingers to kind of open up the channels and
Mhm.
work on your hands and your fingers too. It is incredible. Well, you're talking about the parasites in the lower density body. I remember one time I was in a health food store and I walked past these yogurt covered pretzels and I got so excited. Oh, you have to eat those. And I'm like, but I hate those. I really don't like that. Who wants the yogurt? Is it me or is it the bacteria in my stomach? And it suddenly stopped like this. It was like, it
Yeah.
wasn't me. Because I love pretzels, but not the yogurt ones. It's
Right.
just really wanted the sugar. So as we've been bringing the light codes in, and as we've been doing our energy work, we've been doing our healing work, we've got to be lifting. So there's got to be some changes
Yeah.
going.
And I think expecting change is good too, and not expecting, okay, so today I will wake up thinner, or tomorrow I will wake up thinner. Instead, just go with the flow of it and care for yourself. That's what I'm doing anyway, is just like start to really care for yourself and take care of your body, and it will do the things that, you're hoping for and get healthier and healthier in flow, but not
Yeah.
in being pushed. So I think that's really
Well, that's me back at the gym, then not doing all the reps and all the sets
Mhm.
and all the heavy weights and going, okay, I'll just come more frequently, do it lightly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, do it lightly. Yeah, and you're not going to wake up thinner, but you're not going to get upset
Right.
with yourself because you're not thinner. I mean, I don't mean you. I mean anyone in general. I'm the same. I'm the same. Like we're going on a holiday now, coming up to towards in September, and I'm like, oh, I've got to get bikini ready, and I'm like, I don't like bikinis. Why am I even doing that? So I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, well, if I'm not in that position at that certain time, then that's okay.
Who are we trying to impress?
Yeah, really. Exactly.
One of the biggest lessons that I learned, and I think I've put this in a few of my books, is that we are attracted to the person inside the body, and it's really not about the body at all.
Yeah.
Because if it is about the body, then it's not that kind of a love that you want. It's a
Yeah.
superficial love. And I think then you see and that there's my wonderful friend, and she's 20 pounds heavier than she was last year, but she's still my friend, and she's 20 pounds lighter than she was last year, and she's still my friend. And losing weight does not change who you are. It's just changing how much weight you're carrying.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, what is your friend doing? Are they caring for themselves? Are they being kind to themselves? Are they practicing self-love? Like that's probably the most important thing is to see in your friend. Because if they don't practice self-love themselves, then what is the friendship really to? Because then they don't, they're not bringing self-love and unconditional love to the friendship because they don't have it for themselves. And that has been illustrated with me with more romantic relationships, like in the past, because I've had like an ex-husband, and he didn't love himself at all, and therefore he couldn't love me. And that's another thing that doesn't get thought about that much. But if someone doesn't love themselves, then they can't really love you either. Side note.
Yeah, there is that. I'm thinking as you're talking of one of my closest friends who bought an air fryer to do all the right things, and it's still in her car a week later because she hasn't had the energy to take it out of the car, bring it up to her apartment, figure out how to use it. But she has it in the car. But that's what we're doing. We might not have the energy right now to do all the things we think we need to do or that we want to do, and not to be hard on ourselves. I mean,
No. Yeah.
I was sending you
Sometimes
those
it'll sit
pictures
there for
of
weeks, but then you finally get
yeah,
there. Yeah. Mhm.
we're getting bombarded with this heavy astrological energy where there's all of
Yeah.
these standoffs going on between North Node, South Node. We've got Jupiter and Pluto and Mars and whoever. And then we have the solar flares. Yeah, I was sending you those solar flares, and you can see this one is an X class. So you can see the bands there. There's yellow, orange, and red.
Mhm.
And I was talking to a couple of experts on Facebook who have been sharing about this, but the X class is into the realms of us not being able to actually measure them because they're that strong. They can obliterate the equipment. So how does that affect our body and the
Yeah.
things that we're carrying there? What do you get from that, honey? Can you get a sense of what this actually means for our bodies?
Well, I think it's pretty tough on the body. Like it's almost like being bombarded. So the body gets bombarded by this energy, but eventually it clears things out and it's really good for us. So it's almost like a cleanse, is what it feels like to me. But we're kind of in a new universal energy right now. So we are getting bombarded by this stuff. Here's another one of yours from a different day. That was yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like,
And you can see with this one, the graph is showing you it's a lot busier. It
yeah,
was quieter, but then boom, a really big X class. But this one, there's lots of up and down and up and down and up and down is flowing. quite heavy going. And for me, on Wednesday, 12th of July, I couldn't walk down the street. I felt like I was in treacle. You know, there's this character that my children liked when they were small, Bob the Blob. I said, it feels like Bob the Blob is sitting on top of me and I can't breathe and I can't move.
Yeah.
I'm walking really slow motion up the road, and my brain is telling me, you have to keep going. And my body's like, I can't keep going. It's too much. And this is where we have to take a step back and go, well, I think body gets the chance to be in charge
Yeah.
instead of brain for a while.
I think so
So,
too. And we have to allow it to rest because it's the main, I feel like the body has been discounted a lot. And it's one of the main reasons that we're doing this ascension. I mean, we've never gone through ascension in a body before. It's always been leaving the body behind and ascending. And now we're taking the body with us. So that's the biggest thing, really, that we're doing here. And I don't think
I
that's
think that's been part of the issue with all these agendas, to not be using any specific words, but let's just imagine where they knew that this was the case. So let's create some kind of chemical to disconnect us from our bodies.
yeah,
Or let's create some kind of agenda to tell us that we don't have the body that we should have, and that by cutting pieces of it off, we can make it better. And
exactly.
taking horrendous chemicals. And it breaks my heart that people believe this, when what you really need to do is sit with your body and make friends with it. Because
Mhm.
this is your body, it's your gift from God. This is the vessel through which you express yourself in this world in your lifetime. And, you know,
And you chose
it's
it.
worth taking the time out to make friends with it, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And we chose our body. That's another thing. Like you chose it. Figure out how to be happy with it, you know? So here's another one. And this is all over the internet. And I think this was the beginning of the big frequency change that we're going through
Mm.
right now. So the resonance is different and there's an actual pattern. And I've noticed, and I don't have a picture of it, but I've noticed that the Schumann resonance right now, like it's white. You know, there's all this massive spike of energy going on right now.
You
So,
know what's really funny, honey? When that happened, that beautiful braid work that to me it
mhm.
looks like textures or tapestry or music, when that happened and everyone went crazy, the Russian website that does the Schumann resonance decided, well, we're not sharing our API with anybody anymore. So you go and look for Schumann resonance through a third party application, and there's a picture of a woman going, oh, I don't know what's going on. I thought that was just really funny. And then when you go to their actual website now, it's full of adverts because they realized they could make some money because people are now interested in the Schumann resonance where maybe it was only a few people before.
You
So
know.
there's a huge awareness of what these things are now, which
Mhm.
is also when you bring your awareness in as the observer, it changes things, doesn't it?
It does. The observer is if you think about like the points, the 2 points, like there's 2 points of perception and they're doing stuff, right? They're doing stuff together and they're interacting. And then you have the third party, the observer comes in and it's like, what are they doing? And then they're like, oh, somebody's looking at us. What's really happening? What we're doing matters. It's like so amazing how that third perspective changes the whole dynamic.
And that's what's happening with our bodies.
Yeah.
So I will do some personal disclosure here. Was it last month? It was before you came to Ireland and spent time with me. I texted you and I was very upset. And I said, am I never going to ever get drunk again?
Oh,
and
right.
you, and you texted me back and you go, that's your crystalline body. You're going to have to get used to it. And I'm like, no, I don't, and it's not that I want to get drunk, but, you have a glass of wine and you don't feel anything. It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
So I was kind of testing it when we were together just to see. I was testing it. We got together with the other ladies, but what was really interesting the other day was I thought I was feeling a little bit more drunk than usual, just on a glass of vodka. And I texted you again and I said, but once I step into my observer, I don't feel it anymore. It's like, it changes the whole dynamic because we are little Abby, little Honey, little whoever you are in your body, in the details of your day. But when you bring in your higher self into your body, which is actually what's happening,
Yeah,
then that's the observer stepping in at the same level as the rest of you. And it's very unusual.
it really is. It's like, I know when I first started working with all the higher self stuff, it was like, okay, we've got 10%, 10% of our higher self is in the body. And the other 90% that's the all knowing, either all knowing or they have access to all knowing. That's 90% outside and we can talk to it, right? Well, now it's downloading. So we're in the middle of talking to ourselves, basically. And it's getting, some people are at 50, some people at 60, like it's just different for every person. And it really matters how much you love your body and you're allowing your body to take in of your higher self. That's part of the ascension process.
So as we
And
come down, the body comes up and we
yeah,
meet somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of this stuff, we don't know about it until it's time to know too. So I never even thought about that before, like that's not one of the first things I ever talked about at all. I was talking about the past and physical stuff, and more, how do we see the 3D world? And now I'm thinking about, well, how is our soul affecting our body and what are we doing with it and what are we doing at night and that kind of
And
stuff.
I'm hearing my guides really strongly too. And I don't think of them as my guides anymore. They're my friends.
Yeah.
And, when I'm in the gym, I love now going and just going to the sauna and sitting there with no one else there. And I'm like, oh, here's all my friends. And I'm talking away to them all. And then someone comes in and they're all very quiet. But I've been getting new information as well.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking that this might be very helpful to anyone who's listening, that because more of our higher self is coming in and more of the heavy stuff is being shed, like the detox and the old stuff, and that the body's rising up, that we're not yet in a position to make plans for what we want to do and who we want to be for the rest of our lives, because we can't see that far yet. We don't know what we're going to love. We don't know who, where our inspiration is going to come from. Just meeting people like Honey, like you and me talking, we get so much more information than we ever would do
Yeah.
if it was just me on my own or you on your own. Whereas before, everyone was like, no, I don't want to talk with anybody because I'm the best. It's like, we never do that,
Yeah.
because together we're better together.
Yeah.
And I think that anybody who's been coming to me, and I've been seeing this with other people too, on other people's shows on YouTube and conversations across different platforms, I've been saying, don't decide what you need to be doing for the rest of your life. Be comfortable with the unknowing and focus your awareness and your intention on your process of moving through this and bringing down as much high vibrational healing as you can, doing your inner work, releasing the blocked emotions. Like, I never would have known my Nana's anger from when I was 3 was in my ankle. That's possibly going to affect me in 5 years' time. So what is it inside your body that you need to get rid of? And Honey, we were talking about this. We thought, well, maybe we should do another healing session together to help people
I
with
think
this.
so. Yeah. I think just so basically what we're working on it ourselves, and we want to give you the tools to work on your own, to deal with your own body and some of the resonance of love that you have for your body. We did a great session not too long ago called The Greatest Love of All. And that was about loving yourself, right? So let's take it a step further and love your body too, because we want to light that body up. We want to let it contain all that light and ascend and go through that process that's going to be so beautiful. And then we're going to be able to see so much more too. Like, there's just so much that the body can actually do that we have no idea because we haven't allowed it to happen.
Yeah, I think as well, when you look at the process of healing and how it all works, that there are certain people in the first wave, and then there are people in the second wave, and there are people in the third wave. And what happens with the people in the first wave is, like, we're on the shore, we've kind of done it now, we've got the skills, we want to help everybody to get through. And it's funny, when I get my astrology readings done, or I get the moon that's coming up this month, it explains for me what's already happened. Whereas for normal people, it's like, this is what's going to happen. So I'm in one of those first waves, and so is Honey. And so as we get through it, we want to help you guys get through it too. And I'm really feeling, one of the things I want to do is end my contract with pain. And I'm working on this constantly, and to end the need to learn through pain and through difficulty, and to learn instead through play and fun and joy. And so there's still these patterns that need to be pulled out of our physical bodies, that Honey and I have these amazing gifts that allow us to facilitate work like this. So I envision for the session that we're going to do in August, because we're talking about doing it in August.
Yeah.
Is that the bumpy ride of bringing in your higher self, bringing up your body, the fusion at a deeper level, all the stuff that's coming up in between and getting in the way, that Honey and I can come and do a big sweep through everybody who shows up for this healing. Just get rid of the clunky, heavy, pointy, sharp stuff that's stopping you. And I know as well, there's all these light codes coming in, and I know I haven't integrated all of them yet. So to make a space for all of us to be able to integrate those and activate the new love and excitement and passions that we all have, that we're still learning who we are.
Yeah.
So,
and the willingness for the human consciousness in the body to be accepting of change. So, the human part of us to accept changing into crystalline. Because I know that's where the disconnect, why it's taking longer, it feels like it's longer, is because the human body is been taught to mistrust. And for it to just be able to see its own way through becoming crystalline versus staying carbon based.
well, I say Christ aligned. That's how I call it.
And I love Christ aligned because that's the energy. It's love. It's like pure love. Remember, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but there's I'm sure you probably have. There's a book, and it's called Walking with Jesus, right? So, and it's basically becoming like Christ, the energy of Christ. So what are we doing? We're becoming Christ aligned. We're containing that love within us. And we have to love all of us too first. So that's one of the things I'm going to be working on, and Abby's going to be working on before we actually do this class as well, is how are we going to do that for ourselves, and how does that translate into giving you guys that same beauty, translating it across.
Yeah, and I think as well, when we do this work, one of the beautiful, let's say, side effects of this is the ability to recognize the observer part of yourself, to recognize the voice that comes from the body. Like I said at the beginning of the video, where I was sitting on the bed and I was talking to my body and I was hearing my body talk, and to know where that message is coming from, and to be able to open out the possibility, so that you're not, well, we have to go to the gym and we have to do all of these reps because I have to say, no, I don't have to do anything, and to just release your need to control, because the trust and faith that you have in the world is tangible when your essence is in your body. You can feel it, and when your heart is open, you can feel it. And when people meet you who are fix that way. You can feel it from them as well. And this is about creating a community and a space where everyone you surround yourself with is wholehearted, living a wholehearted life.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the equal exchange too. Like if you're hanging out and spending time with people that love themselves and you love yourself, then your relationship is going to be very loving and kind and wonderful, because there's no judgment on each other, you know. And that's where we're going, and we have to take the body consciousness with us too. It has to be the whole being.
it does. And if you think that being wholehearted and being Christ aligned is boring and you run out of things to talk about, you're totally wrong, because Honey and I have been talking every day. And I think one day last week we were like nearly 3 hours talking. And the more we learn, the more we want to learn. And when we do it together, it just opens up new doors, new corridors, new information. And I think, you know, we were even saying this before, how these crystals just suddenly appear in the world, but they're 100 million billion years old. But oh, look, we just discovered them now. It's because we're ready for them. And so there's information there that we're not ready for yet, because we're not this wholehearted being yet, but we're becoming that.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. There's more to do. There's so much more to do, so much more to learn. Mysteries are becoming unfolded for us. And it's a really exciting journey to be on.
It really is. And for me, it's like learning how to play again. You know, it's like those moments of play when you were little and you were just completely paying attention to your moment that you were in. That's when it really gets beautiful, when you can actually honor the moment in time that you're in and enjoy it and play and have that happy feeling inside of you. That's so important. And there are new crystals, like what is it? The pink amethyst is a new crystal, right? And you have one
right behind me, actually, pink amethyst.
Yeah. So, and I just got a new crystal, which I showed Abby a little earlier, and it's all faceted. And I could feel the energy coming from it when I picked it up.
Yeah, I can feel from here it really wants to work with you. I found a new one too called Gaia. Probably got the name wrong, but they say this is on Mars, but they found this one in a cave in Germany, and it's brand, never heard of it before. It looks like hematite. I'm like, whoa, but I held it and it helped me bring myself more into my body. Going, what a surprise, because our stone friends want to help us do this.
They do. They do. And they're elevating too, I think. I think that crystals, as the universe is elevating, they're also elevating. Like everything is ascending. Everything.
Not what's interesting is like we don't need all the time, but what I'm finding is when you need a little bit of support, you know, it's good to have them there. And then we embody it more in our own field so that we take it everywhere we go, as opposed to needing all the crystals in your pocket and then you'll never leave the house because they just weigh down.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think they hold a frequency, you know. So if we need that frequency, here it is. Like you can reach out and you can get a frequency and just work with it right then and
incorporate it into your own energy. And then
being. Yeah. Yep.
Really good.
It is good. And we love our rocks. And
yeah, I'm not going to show you how many I have beside me here. Okay, I'll show you one. This one's jumping out. This one here.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah.
Which is called Septarian. And it's calcite and aragonite, and it's really soothing and it helps ground as well.
Yeah, I can feel the grounding energy from here.
But you know, if you have something like this in your hand and you're having trouble coming into your body, you know, to anyone who's watching, I'd recommend this, to just hold a crystal in your hand and bring yourself into yourself, and then to use affirmations as mantras. They're like, it's okay, I'm safe, I'm here, I'm okay, it's safe, I'm here. And then to recognize as well, I mean, where do you start with this whole body thing, right, honey? So I would start with, what are you saying to your body that you're not aware you're even saying to your body?
your inner words. The inner dialogue is so important to pay attention to, because, you know, you walk by a mirror. When you walk by a mirror, what do you say? I'd start with that, probably that one moment.
Yeah, or when you're trying to fit into your bikini.
Yeah, or your jeans, or whatever it is, you're trying to put on something that you don't feel comfortable in. What do
What
you
is
say to
that
your body?
meme? Get ready, get summer ready. Just put on your clothes and go outside. And you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. And love your body through it. Like, my body wants to let go of extra, you know, it wants to be free. So just giving it whatever it needs to do that is really important. Like the other, I don't know, it was like a month ago, my body said, no more corn.
Mm.
So I've had to be really careful to pay attention to corn, because that was never a thing before. I would eat corn instead of, you know, bread or whatever. And now corn is off the table.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah.
makes sense because you're in America and there's so much corn and everything, and
GMO
it's
and
not natural.
yeah, yeah,
It's not natural, yeah. But then I think also, you know, when you visualize love as a light coming through you, and in your hands you've got love, and then you can put love into your body,
mhm,
and you can visualize your body receiving that love
yeah,
and say it's okay, or to separate yourself from your body like you would separate your inner child and say, okay, my body just wants to love me, but I'm not loving it. What's in the way? What's in between me and the body that's getting in the way of that? I said, oh, it's because my body looks like my mom, and me and my mom are not getting on. So every time I look in the mirror, I see my mom. It pisses me off. It's really funny because my eldest daughter did one of these Snapchat filters, and she sent me the picture of her old and the picture of her now. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why you're doing that, but that's okay. And she said, I look like your mom, she says to me. And I'm like, no, you don't. She look like you. And it's this, you know, this dysmorphia that we have where we don't see what
yeah,
we look like, but someone else can see it better than we can, you know, to
exactly.
allow ourselves for that too. So that's tough. Like I look at pictures of myself when I was a teenager and I go, I wasn't that fat that I thought I was. I was pretty. I thought I was ugly and fat. And I'm looking, I said, "Ma, there's nothing wrong with that girl.
Yeah,
Only that she's thinking that there's something wrong with her, you know, and that's the conditioning. That's the way they get in. So let's
it
take it all
is.
out.
It's how they get in. Yep. And treat your body as if it was your best friend, you know, or your best friend's body. Like, if your best friend was having a hard time with the way her body looked, you would never pick on her because of it, would you?
That's like Freaky Friday where the mom and the daughter swap bodies.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's true.
It's funny.
Yeah,
What would you do if you had, you know, someone else's body you treated better than you would treat your own, wouldn't you?
yeah. So those are all good things to think about, I think, when it comes to the
I think
body.
so too.
Yeah,
Well, I'm looking forward to doing some more healing with you,
me
because I
too.
think when we get together and we do healing, it can be quite profound. And I remember some of the things that happened the last time that we didn't plan. I don't think we really planned too much. We just opened the door and let it really flow in, but it was
Yeah,
very profound. So
it was really profound. And we had a lot of feedback where it was really good for people. So we're just inviting you to that. And we'd love to see you there.
so
So
we'll put all the links below, yeah?
yeah, we
All the
will.
links below. So
Okay.
can I just give the
Yeah,
the people a little exercise to do before we finish
sure.
the video?
Absolutely.
Because what I find really useful once you know how to do it, and forgive me if you've done this before, but I don't think you can overdo this, is Ho'oponopono.
Oh yeah.
To bring that in through your body is the phrases of please forgive me, I'm sorry, which I think we are all holding that from how we treat ourselves and our body. So if you were to think for a moment of what please forgive me, the energy of that is, you know, maybe from being too harsh on yourself or from treating yourself badly. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you for being here to your body. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. And then the I love you is harder to do if you don't feel that love for your body. So imagine you're stepping out of your body and you're looking at your body, and there's your body, and it was the baby, and it was the toddler, and it was little you, and it was growing up. And if you were to hold little you, that was you, that's your body. And now here it is as you. You could say, I'm doing my best to try and love you more. Find your own words for that. If you can't say I love you to your body, connecting into love, compassion, understanding, and patience. And say, I'm learning to be patient with myself. I'm learning to love my body more. And then to draw all of that energy in and bring it in through your head and your face and your throat and your chest and into your heart, and feel your heart open, because it's just so happy to have you in your body more, and down to your belly, where we can say, please forgive me. I'm not treating you well. I didn't eat enough food today, and then I ate too much all at once, and I'll try not to do that again. You have your conversation into the hips and the legs and the feet. And if you even can touch your own skin and feel yourself touching yourself and say, thank you, I love you. And all the way down, thank you, I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you, I love you. Something inside you softens, and that's you really coming into relationship with yourself. And what's really nice to do is to do that when you're having a bath, or when you're lying down in bed just before you go asleep, and you can just take your hands and put yourself, hands on yourself and do that. And it's a lovely, lovely exercise to just connect in at a deeper level.
It really is. It feels like, to me, it feels like acknowledgement of, and kind of the full circle of sovereignty, like taking responsibility and changing the story in the same, in that same time. Yeah. It feels really good to do that. And I love that Ho'oponopono. I used to do that a lot. So that's a great thing to do right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep. Thank you, Abby. And
thank you too.
Yeah. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And we hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.